Alrighty, hiatus again. Out of the way, it is hard to record in this house, let me tell you. If it's not the noise in the house in the daytime, it's the requirement of less noise at nighttime. But nevertheless, the midpoint of the season comes at you at full speed here from the Grand Valley 100-kilometer endurance race. And, oh boy. Well, for every storyline going into this race, there's going to be at least 2 or 3 more coming back out. It's like an input-output device. I don't think that's a term, but you get the picture. There's a lot going on. Behind the scenes and otherwise. But the most important thing is that there's a race. So let's get to that first, and everything else will kind of just cover itself for the most part along the way. And we are green for the Grand Valley 100 kilometers, and as usual we have the same sort of setup. There are 6 teams of 3 on the grid. All were ordered in a serpentine starting grid, and then a team of 2 filling the last 2 spots of 2 Nitro Knights representatives on the back row. So technically the person we're on board with, Derek De La Cruz, started the race in 18th. But he's already up to 15th and looking for, well, possibly more. At the very least, he's going to try and follow his teammate Keith through the field a little bit. Or he's going to shoot around the outside of Keith, which is absolutely embarrassing at the midsection of the track. Yeah, the teams on offer today. We have, obviously, we're looking at a driver for Urban Estate Racing Team, who's just passed 2 NFR drivers, 2 or 3 wide, in the form of Isabel Aspinall and Penny Golden. They're battling side by side themselves now. Porsche AG has its 3 drivers all competing. Me and 2 others on Mercury Racing. No, that's Urban Estate. Oh yeah, Demon Sports. Logan and his 2 closest allies, Katie Rose and Buck Angelos. That's NFR again. There's one other team. Oh, there's the Nitro Knights. They're only the 2-car outfit. And they're not doing too well. We do have a new driver in the race. The only reason that Nitro Knights are able to participate at all, as you can really see, is somebody who's going to the pits. So I guess we'll just look at the leaders. We'll just monitor De La Cruz's progress, since that's kind of the whole point of him being the POV car. Currently getting smacked around by Fenny. I think I might have missed something here. I say I missed something. I was there to see it happen, all of it. It slowed me down a lot too. I don't know what Natsuki was doing in the chicane, but it wasn't excellent, and it cost me a position against De La Cruz. Not that it mattered. I had rear end damage in turn 1, but then we just had Natsuki just brake testing De La Cruz and nearly turning him on exit 2. So, yeah, De La Cruz, none too pleased about how he's being raced, and he's going to give Natsuki a little bumper into T1. Fenny will seize the moment and nearly run him over as well, so our POV driver is currently playing Corvette pinball at the moment, rather than an actual motor race. And this is going to come to a head a little later, I guess, when we head up to this hairpin over here, and De La Cruz just gives her the crow horn, just runs her up the track, barges his way past. Message sent, maybe even received, not sure, but I'm going to go ahead and err on the side of yes. That is a decent chunk of damage dealt to the RX-7 though, and obviously to the 6th gen Corvette itself, so now they're both soundly out of contention, I reckon. They'll have to pit for that kind of damage. Pretty tame in the front half, but well, there is another much bigger story to tell right about now. No, your eyes aren't deceiving you. He has finally returned after, what would we say, like 5 months out of action? Yeah, Mr. John Thrasher returns to the Challenge Series grid, as does his team, Black Stallion Motorsports. And boy, is that a freaking adventure. The short end, Ambrose Racing Company is no more. They never should have been in the first place. They scammed Thrasher out of his own team. And, well, after seizing possession of all of his vehicles, he was sort of forced out of the Challenge Series. You can't race with no car, but he never officially, like, mentioned that, so he was still always on the roster. Passed by Stephanie Kaiser while we're speaking about him, but through a myriad of different means, he's managed to regain control of his team and ownership of his vehicles. And now he's presumably back full-time. A slight redesign on the Mach 40 as well, so he calls it. The Black Stallion itself, slight redesign on the livery he runs here. Still the same car, though. And so that does mean that, yes, Natsuki back here in last place is once again representing Black Stallion Motorsports, as is Thomas O'Reilly in his Cobra. The team's a little down on numbers at the moment. I believe it is only Thrasher, Thomas, Natsuki, and Siegfried Brandt at the current moment. No sign of Axel Valentine making any sort of reappearance. Apparently, he was largely to blame for everything that had happened, so I've been told. So he's been hesitant to show his face on the racetrack again, even after everything's been sorted out and Black Stallion is back on the track. The other thing to report on is the return of a Challenge Series OG, for lack of a better term. Madison Palmer, who, if we think back to the very first season of the Challenge Series, was eliminated from the whole series when her Camaro had an engine failure going down the front stretch of Tokyo. That Camaro is no more. However, she does have another new Camaro. I say new, it's from 1969. I think new is sort of relative at that point. She replaced it with the rest of the mod model, and she also has this Chevelle. First Chevelle we've seen in the Challenge Series. A drag racing Chevelle, at that. It's named after one of the games from her early childhood. That's technically older than her, but that's not the point. However, its drag racing pedigree isn't doing it many favors around here. There's only one good straightaway to use that power on. And there's a lot of power. Believe me, you. Believe you me, whatever that little bit is. Heath again has damage. Didn't know he had it the second time, but he's not pitting for it, because it's only rear damage. Suspension damage would have been cause for concern, but at this point in the race, I was just kind of following behind him. I had also been damaged on lap 1 of the race. And I knew that my teammates were running really well. There's sort of like a team point system going on. Oh boy. What the heck happened? Oh, his tires are just dead. Never mind. He's been sliding around. He's probably a little rusty. He doesn't really know how to control that thing anymore. He hasn't driven it for a while. So he's probably not the cleanest on those tires, if I had to guess. I thought he'd crash, but no, his rear tires are just dead, and he's probably low on fuel too, so I can't imagine that thing is exactly efficient. Yeah, Honika's leading and comfortably at that. She's got about a second or two over second place Logan Poole. Stephanie Kaiser is approaching though, so can't get complacent because that is almost certainly the fastest car on this track. Ellie's in 7th, but just look at the shape of her tires. That is obscene, how delicate this woman is on her tires. Compare that to the car ahead and the car, especially the car behind. Fenny is no such talent for maintaining tire life. It probably helps the Cayman is really lightweight. Uni's doing even worse. Stephanie's aren't too bad. Tonika's somewhere in the middle, but yeah, Porsche cars, I guess they just seem to be better on tires. But this is a race full of GM. You can see the damage that's been consistently applied to Derek's car has really caused his front tires to fall off the cliff. That thing is built stable in the worst way possible. See if Thrasher can try and come up the field in with his fresh tires. He's got to pass his teammate first. Honoka pits from the lead. That thing is a little bit thirsty, we'll say. Then again, most people will be going in on the next lap or anything, at least, so. You will be hard-pressed to do this in 2 stops. If you can stretch it to lap 7, it's theoretically possible. The only person I can see doing that is possibly Ellie, if she was safe. And I think she was at this point. The likes of me and Derek don't count. We topped up when we made our pit stops early on. So we're on like a super different strategy right now. So in Derek's case, I think it's making his tires go 7 laps that'll prove difficult. We got the rest of the leaders coming in, and as expected, Ellie is going to be able to go another time around. But you can see that she is probably running in a pretty low fuel mix. That Cayman's definitely worth more than 167 on a straightaway. Compare that to Derek, where even with this rear end damage, he's gonna easily crush that, almost 180 at the braking point. And he's got to make it a pretty early braking point, considering the shape of his left front tire. You really can't, like, force that into corners at all. That's a camera. That's a very interesting mountain game. What the heck? Thomas let his reunited team owner by, probably with a little fuss, so I don't really see why he'd fight him. I mean, I don't think he could. Look at the shape of his rear tires. He's sliding that thing around like a bathtub on wheels, because that's effectively what the Cobra is. He just put a funny wing on it and called it a day. Oh my word, hold on to her. Your driving style will always be an anomaly to me, Thomas. You should be a rally driver. Screw all this stuff with the Cobra. You should find himself an RS200 or something. Or maybe an Escort. Oh, let's see him exit the chicane. Oh, get into the chicane even. Meanwhile, the leaders pit. Derek did not have a choice. Holy crap, that left front. Ellie retains the lead as she leaves the pit lane. And she's more than good to go to the end too, so... She's very dangerous right now. Oh, this is an absolute cluster back here. Third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, all in the nose to tail. Tyler not too far away from it. Everybody's on basically fresh rubber. Thrasher's not too far away either, but his tires are not quite as good. Thomas went another time around on those tires? Are you crazy? Then there's just me. I, again, didn't really put up much of a fight against Derek. Even still, I think he was a little bit, you know, hesitant to go for moves, considering he's been swatted around like a ping pong ball so far in this race. He would find it hard to trust even me at this point, when he's been hit by everybody else on the racetrack, just about. At least that's probably what he would tell you. Yeah, what we're seeing is that this Mustang is not efficient at all, which is kind of a problem. That's exactly like the one thing you need for an endurance race is efficiency and being able to use not a whole lot of fuel and not absolutely eviscerate your tires. And it seems that Thrasher's golden car for street racing is, unsurprisingly perhaps, not made for that. I think it's around here. Yeah, and De La Cruz just gets to run out of the chicane, and I literally just like slow down and let him go. Like, he's not taking any chances, but I'm taking even fewer, just because that's just kind of how I go. And Thrasher's, his tires are dead. His teammates are even worse. I don't even know how he made that another time around. Looking at that thing, the sun now sets on the Grand Valley Highway, as we are getting near the halfway mark of the event. And everybody's kind of in a train here, but there's not much of note happening despite that. Everyone just kind of clumped together with nowhere to go. Stephanie has taken over the race lead. I don't know when this happened. Well, I'm not surprised. It's the straight line. I mean, the Carrera is going to always have better straight line speed than the Cayman. Ellie tried a crossover, but it just didn't work. Didn't have the momentum. But it happened, what are we, 30 seconds ago. And usually 2-3 for Mercury. Honoka's race pace is impressive, while Ellie's ability to preserve the tires and the car being more fuel efficient than average has put them both in a really good spot. I don't really know how the heck Uni is staying where she is, though, I'll be perfectly honest. Logan was almost intent to change it one way or the other there, the way he broke for the turn. He's got a pair of 8th gen Corvettes behind him, one of which is his teammate, another one his most bitter rival. Meanwhile, for second and third, at least, well, Ellie has kind of worked both of them. Obviously, she's Honoka's teammate, but she and Stephanie have worked together a couple of times in the past. So... De La Cruz is slowly working his way up towards this train of cars as well. I don't think he'll get there, though, because of just where the pit cycles are. Uni must pitch. Pitch. Her fuel is apparently low. It's not as low as he thought it was. She probably could have gone on the last one, too, so I'm not really sure what the strategy was there. I can only presume that Tyler has absolutely no interest in trying to pass right now. Katie will try to overtake her team owner, but they certainly don't do team orders or anything simple like that on Demon Sports. As a matter of fact, Katie has to actually door her team owner just to get by. They do not screw around with Demon Sports. It is effectively nighttime now as they look out the windows on De La Cruz's Corvette. Yeah, and if you're not facing that direction, it basically is nighttime. Derek hooking curbs, trying to do anything he can to squeeze just an extra minute of life out of those front tires. And then he can try and take the load off of them, I would say. I say as he absolutely sends it through the final turn at 137 miles an hour. Holy shit. At least tires are finally starting to show a little bit of wear. Like 11 laps into the race, though. So... the funny thing is, though, I doubt she even takes new ones on her stop. She probably should, just because, yeah, they can go 20 laps, but would it be faster to have fresh tires? Probably. This is an interesting race, though. De La Cruz is still very clearly the fastest, fastest car on the track. He's the only person that's gotten beneath the 50s. So when he's got fresh tires, he's pushing that thing like there's no tomorrow. Stephanie's 50.9, the only thing even close to that. Nobody else is really driving at 100% right now, except for probably Derek, who's trying to make up for lost time after getting involved with Natsuki, or getting involved in a crash with Natsuki very early on in the race. So he's kind of having to drive the car with a bit of a web foot just to try and make up for lost time if he wants any hope of securing the W. He's not out of it, is the funny part. He's on a slightly different strategy from everybody else, but if you can only take one more pit stop from here to the checkered flag, he should be fine. Honoka is pitting. Yeah, out of fuel. Yeah, that'll do it. 2% fuel left. I reckon it's time to come in. Stephanie will be following her on the next lap, I would say, as will Katie and Tyler, who, you know, driving identical cars, so they have identical fuel consumption and basically identical tire wear. Tyler being in Katie's dirty air for some of the race, has slightly worse tire wear. And De La Cruz, well, he's understeering, so his tires don't like him too much, but he is slowly creeping up on him in spite of that fact. Even with the tires in the shape they are, he ran a 51.2 last lap, the tie is 51.9, and Katie's 52.7. And Barbara is in last. Not really her day, I would say. I don't really know what went wrong there, all told. Oh, okay, she's not in last, because her teammate has just pit from like 18th and is now back to last. The thing I can only imagine is he's worse on like tires and fuel. The thing has got close to 1,000 horsepower, by the way. I would just like to point that out. That Chevelle she's in, I mean, it's a dragster. I guess what else do you really expect? But still. Yeah, Stephanie pits in right here. Literally no choice in the matter. 6% fuel left. Ellie continues to soldier on with probably enough fuel for 2 more laps in that Porsche. That bumps De La Cruz to second concurrently. He's going to be pitting in a lap or 2 though. He's got the fuel to go to 14. The tires, not sure. He's had no damage on this run, so at least that's helped. And he's had completely clean track. He's been pretty much on an island the whole damn race. So, his tire wear is probably helped by that. But it's still not excellent in comparison to Ellie, who's not only has a perfect balance of wear on her tires, but her fronts are still in better shape, and she's run twice as many laps on this set as Derek has on his. I'm gonna need this, I mean, I'm decent at saving mine, you know, like, even with something as, like, foamy at the mouth with horsepower like a Dodge Viper, I'm gonna be able to make this in 2 stops. But Ellie could make this in 1 if she had a bigger fuel tank. Like, her tires, she's been so delicate with those, she doesn't even need to change her tires. It's just a matter of if it might be faster if she does, because then she could push the car to the end for him. And that's always the catch-22 with strategy. You never, you don't exactly have a brilliant strategist on our team. We don't have, anything like that. We just kind of guess based on, okay, the fuel tank is empty. Also, Derek, your left front is kind of dead, pal. Alright, Derek, you don't seem to care. Understandable. Have a great lap and try not to have a puncture. Stephanie is going to have to push for her life here. I don't think she can go to the end from here, though. I think she only gets 6 laps on a fuel tank, so... yeah, she's really going to have to go, because she's got to make up an extra, 20 seconds on an extra pit stop that she has to make that not everybody else does. Case in point, Ellie, who will be going to the end from here, and there's not a single shred of doubt in my mind. Derek is also trying to get to the end from this pit stop, and he'll have the easier final stint because he saved the 6-lap stint for the end of the race. Kyler will also be helped by having, about 15% less gas in the car once he leaves the pit lane. That is, if he can get there. He's still running 51s, even with that left front looking more resemblant of a freaking volleyball than a racing hard tire. Yeah, unsurprisingly, it is Ellie's time to make her final pit stop. I don't remember if she took tires or not. I didn't exactly ask. Obviously, Derek did. He did it 3% fuel left as he enters the pit lane, and about the same amount of left front tire rubber left. Stephanie might not even take the lead here. Derek feels the car all the way. He's taking no chances. Stephanie is going to take the lead, but is going to be too wide into turn 1. Possibly. Not quite. Oh, yep. No. Maybe. Ellie did not take tires, by the way. And Honoka is nearby, but so is Katie Rose. Derek comes out just in front of his teammate, McIntosh, but with fresh tires, and not even having to think about saving fuel from here to the end of the race. So he is just on full attack from here to the checkered flag, and he's got to pass 4 cars. Some passes may be easier than others. I don't think Honika's making it to the end of the race on that fuel road. And I don't think Stephanie is either, because that Carrera is not fuel efficient, unlike the Porsche that she is currently tailgating. Katie Rose, I'm not sure, but I don't think her tires are going far enough either. So Derek and Ellie are the only absolute guesses. So really, Derek's only opponent that I can confirm is Ellie. Everybody else is botched on strategy. And there's Derek in the frame now. I reckon there goes Stephanie for the lead. Down the inside at the northern end of the track. I'm not exactly sure what the distance between her and Derek is. I would say it's about 5 seconds, but 137 again apex speed, and he had more room to give if he wanted to hit the curb up there. That is crazy to me. Clearly the Nitro Knights helped set this thing up. Unfortunately, it seemed more focused on helping De La Cruz and Tyler get good setups on their Corvettes than their own cars, because Barbara has not looked like herself today at all, running definitively last in the C8 Corvette. Remember, this is our Season 2 champion back here. Down the inside, Derek goes on Katie. They make contact right at the apex. Yeah, these two teams, no love lost there whatsoever, I would say. Katie surprisingly doesn't respond in time. Probably wasn't even close enough to. Probably doesn't have the tires to. Ellie's trying to stick with that Carrera. If nothing else, getting Slipstream will help her. Because Stephanie is not going to the end. You can look on that fuel gauge there. She's already used half her fuel in 3 laps. That's not going to go to the end, no matter what. De La Cruz to the back of Honoka. Honoka makes a defensive move to the inside. Derek probably does not care. Oh, it's super wide for the NSX. She just makes an absolute nuisance of herself, though. And I guess stays ahead? Maybe? Crossover attack. Yeah, sorry, Honoka. You're back to the drawing board on that one. Don't overthink it next time, sweetie. That was just embarrassing to watch. 140. Okay, 139. What the hell? Absolute maniac in that final turn. She's trying to hit something. Look at all. Oh, she was playing spoiler for Ellie, I bet. Duh, Riker. Ellie's tires are not looking great, though. She's obviously not going to have much pace, and I'm not going to have much throat either. As you can tell, my voice is starting to go here. Even though I've only been talking for a half an hour. Yeah, Ellie can't do much with that one. I mean, she can... I guess she can, never mind. I was like, oh, her tires are dead, Derek's on fresh tires, this is easy. No, it's not. It's never easy around Ellie. Now, you could look at this as Stephanie is his final opponent to overcome, about 2.5 seconds ahead of him, but I look at it as Stephanie's going to have to pit anyway. Derek probably doesn't even need to worry about it. She won't be in this time, but she will be in on the next one. I can almost promise you. And if even not that, she's not getting to the end of lap 20 with that amount of fuel. Even if she's short shifting, that's probably just to make it to 18. But Derek has no such requirements. He does not need to short shift. He does not need to save tires. He probably will pass her on the track. It doesn't matter. And it's looking like that's exactly what he plans to do. Cornering speed difference. Confidence difference even. And now he's in the slipstream. He's going to probably have a shot at her at turn 1 if he can brake properly. Down the inside of the Carrera. Stephanie leaves the lane, but manages to stay ahead for the most part anyway. But the corner exit momentum on that Corvette, what was that? They're going to go too wide down the S's. This is certainly something. Stephanie, I think, just kind of backed out of that. Derek had the balls of steel, and Stephanie had absolutely no fuel left. So there was no point in her fighting the battle that she couldn't win anyway. No, those tires are not healthy. Those are worse though, so... I had no idea my left rear was that bad. Not that it mattered a whole lot. Uni's was no better. I mean, her left front's better, but her left rear is just as bad. And then Logan's all the way back here in turn 1, with Natsuki, of all people, who, again, had damage very early on in the race. That doesn't seem to matter, though, because, you know, that damage came from Derek after she dealt some to him. And look where he is. He's in the lead, and he's on his way to victory if he just, you know, drives well. Stephanie's about to head right into the pit lane. She's got nothing left to give in that Carrera. Derek has plenty of gas in the tank and, well, enough tires. He's not having the same absolute meltdown he had been having. In she goes. Puts Ellie back in second. Let's see if maybe she finds some kind of second wind or if she just kind of hangs out. I don't quite recall. I obviously am all the way back here. I wouldn't be able to know what she did. Well, I can relatively confirm Ellie, if he was going faster, it's not faster enough. Also, Barbara with the ultimate consolation prize. A 46.9 is an absolutely stupid lap. Why are you in 18th then? If you could do all that, why weren't you doing that? You could be running way better with a lap time like that, I assure you. The guy who's about to do damage limitation and win after getting suspension damage on lap 3 is running minute 50s. To begin the final lap here at Grand Valley, the final 5 kilometers of the track, or of the event. Derek's left front is about on par with Ellie's now, but they only have to go one more lap. And his rears are a lot better, so he can just pour out of turns and not worry. It was a little embarrassing. Again, it didn't matter. Nobody else is really near us, and I didn't know, but I kind of had a feeling Uni's tires were no better. And look at that, yeah. There's nothing in that meter. That's just a red rectangle at that point. Uni pushed that tire literally down to the rims. Well, Urban Estate Racing Team doesn't have a whole lot of wins, all told. They'll probably tell you that they usually just get crashed into a bunch, and on any day that they don't, there's usually one of them in the top 5. They've had just as many rivalries as they've had race wins. If it's not with Demon Sports, that's ongoing. It's their previous history with NFR, as run by Noir and Uni. But if there was a day to suddenly pull a victory out of the hat, how about the midpoint of the season here in the longest race on the calendar? Well, concurrent, as Derek De La Cruz emerges from the tunnel to claim the W here from the Grand Valley 100 kilometers. Ellie tried everything in the kitchen sink and had an F1 level or WBC levels of tire saving on her 20-lap stint, basically, as far as those tires are concerned, but she is only rewarded with 2nd place. Stephanie 3rd, in spite of her fuel shortages. If this were an 18-lap race, she would have had that probably in the bag. Unfortunately for her, this is not the Grand Valley 90 kilometers. Honoka 4th, and I managed 7th with tires that probably look more like footballs. And it is an interesting thing is 247 for Mercury, if there was any sort of team's points calculations that went into this race. I think we'd probably win it, even with Urban Estate getting 1st and 6th, just based on where Keith Kilgore finished down in 15th. But a lot of this race's big stories really just did not come to pass. Our Season 2 champion bringing home a mere 18th place for indiscernible reasons, most likely just damage I wasn't aware of, and then inability to make up the lost time, nor keep the tires in good shape. The long-awaited return of Thrasher and a Black Stallion Motorsports nets them a 10, 12, 17 result. The 17 on Thrasher's end probably being associated with his tire wear and fuel consumption issues with such a behemoth of an automobile that's very clearly not cut out for endurance racing and, is built for highways. And we've seen, even when they win, we've seen today, Urban Estate Racing just seems to get into crashes. The way that he barged Katie Rose out of the way towards the end of the race, not wanting to lose any time behind the Corvette driver. And also just all of what happened between him and Natsuki early on. There is no easy way to victory for Urban Estate, as they always seem to just find themselves in the middle of just nonsense, really.